different nation, how different nation are operating, and how the church is growing in different nations. So that's opened my eyes a lot. In the country that I went to, I see so much need out there. In these different places that I've seen, there are just so much need of the gospel, especially gospel. I mean, there's need in education, stuff like that too, but the most important thing that I see that they need is the gospel.
I've been growing up in El Shaddai Children's Home for a long time. I've been here for almost 20 years already, and my parents have been giving their whole life to raise me up to be the person that I am today. It's because of my parents that, you know, I want to serve God, and I want to give my life to people in Thailand, and to give my life to serve God, and to give my life for the youth in Thailand and children in Thailand. You know, it's the same as Jesus. Jesus came down on earth to give his life for us so that we can, you know, have salvation and that we can be with him. And God gave Jesus his only son, and yeah, it's like we the same. We should be giving our best to, you know, to God too. We should be giving our best to other people. So I just want to, you know, thank God that I have, you know, that he gave me this opportunity to come to El Shaddai Home and to grow up here and to be raised up by my parents, because I learned so much about giving from my parents and from people around me. And I just want to encourage you that this Christmas, don't just think about the presents, but be reminded of Jesus and of who he is and of what Jesus has done for us. Merry Christmas.
My name is Daniel. I grew up in the El Shaddai family. When I was a kid, I don't really understand the process of giving, and I don't really understand having sponsor giving into my life every month. But I just remember growing up in a good family, in a family that loves me. And I just feel secure when I was growing up. Now I understand the process of giving. Now I understand that a lot of people in the past have been giving and sowing into my life so much. And I'm so thankful for all the supporters. Now I'm in the place that God blessed me so much. And I just want to be a blessing to other people, because God blessed us so much, and he commanded us to be a giver. He commanded us to give into the nations, into the people that have no hope. And God wants us to be hope into their lives, that because God is our hope, and he is our salvation, and he is our everything. And now that I learned that process, I understand the process of giving and sowing and reaping. And for me and my family, we want to be a blessing into this nation and to as many people as we could.
Well, I think that's looking at Neo, Daniel, and Sawang and Nittaya. I just really see a God really moving in their hearts. You really see people that get generosity and want to pass it on, you know? It's like, it's such a blessing to see people that are generous, that you've looked after and wanted to be generous too, you know? You see your investment going somewhere and doing something that's like it's going to bear fruit long term, you know? And I really love it, because I think people that understand or are thankful recognize God's goodness, you know? People that thank God, people that are like, God, I thank you that you're giving, and they recognize what God's hand's been in. They're very thankful, and they become very generous as well.
I remember the first time Sawang and Nittaya came to be a part of our home. I was a little bit older by then, and I was probably, I don't know, in my early teen years. And I remember the first time I gave Nittaya a hug when she came in, and my parents had encouraged us to really love on them, you know, and I went to give her a hug, and she just stiffened herself right up. She didn't know what to do, you know, and she just didn't know really how to receive affection. And just over the course of time, as time passed along, you know, I just kept giving her lots and lots of hugs. And I remember very vividly the day that she first responded to me, you know, where I gave her a hug, and she kind of put her arm up and put it on my put it on my arm, you know, and it just really melted my heart. But it was just such an amazing transition to see this little girl who didn't know how to receive affection and love, and who totally just, you know, tensed right up when you tried to give her a hug, you know. Now she's this loving and kind and generous person who loves people, and she works with kids in the children's ministry and our ministry here in Thailand, and she's so awesome, you know. And it's just amazing how, because they've received the heart of God, the generous heart of God, because of other people's generosity, now they're very generous. You know, every one of my siblings that were interviewed on the program today are serving God full time right now. You know, and they give so generously of their time and their ability, right, and their talents and their resources. I mean, Neo is such a giver. You know, yeah. I don't know if it's possible to give too much, but he's the kind of guy that if he sees a need, he'll give you the shirt off his back, literally, you know. And sometimes it's a little bit difficult because
especially in public.
Yes, and his wife is expecting it, you know, yeah, when they go to have an ultrasound and he's giving all their money away. But God always is faithful, you know, and He always blesses them. But it's just amazing to see how when you sow in a generous spirit into someone's life, then they end up having that spirit as well. You know, it's not that they just receive your time or they just receive your prayers or they receive your finances, but really if you've committed to sow into something, you're not just giving that, but you're also showing an example of generosity that people can catch, you know. Right. A lot of times, if you see generosity in action, then you see how you could do it, you know what I mean? Right. We tend to think of generosity in the terms of just money that I can give, you know? Right. And if I don't have a big bank account overflowing with money, right, then what is it that I have to give? But we have so much that we can give, you know? And there's so many opportunities of time, of talent, resources, ideas, you know? I mean, there's just, it's whatever it is that we have inside of us, you know, our families, we can give our families, we can be generous with our families, you know, share our families around the Christmas holiday. There are a lot of people that don't have anybody to share Christmas with, and they're alone, you know. And I know your parents are a good example of that, right? Whenever there's someone new in town, they often invite them over for Christmas dinner, and it's so awesome when we get to share our families, you know, we share our time, we share the things that we enjoy, and generosity shown and displayed is an example to others of, hey, I can be generous in that area. I might not be able to just, you know, give financially to everything, but, you know, I might not be able to give to the Heart and Stroke Foundation, but maybe I can canvas for them, you know. I might not be able to go to the mission field, but maybe I can pick a missionary and pray for them, you know. And just find ways that we can be generous, because God loves a cheerful giver.
Right, that's how it gets things through, right? I mean, if it stopped right at Jesus, we'd be finished, right? Yeah. I mean, Jesus just didn't come and die. I mean, while He was here, He imparted into people, right? And He equipped them. And He had obviously God has a long-term vision, you know, for the lives of humans, you know. He has, and that's really what we want as well, and what we see in the ministry is that when we come to something, when we deal with people, it's got to be long-term. It's got to be not our generation, but different generations in the future.
And
you know? It's got to be something that passes on from this to that,
as we
this,
obey
you know?
the Word of God, He takes whatever our seed is, whether it's just our prayer or our time or our gifts or abilities, you know, and just our willingness to obey Him. He takes that small...
I mean, the thing is, we're riding on the generosity, time, and wisdom that God has given that generation, and we've got to pass it on and keep passing it on. I mean, we always collect what is good, you know, and what's out of the Bible and pass it on, you know, and culture always changes, time changes, you know, but generosity is a spirit that's ageless, you know. It's like wisdom, it's timeless, it's eternal, you know.
And there are so many areas that we can definitely give into, especially in the Christmas season. There's tons of opportunity, because it is a season where we tend to focus on giving. There seems to be a lot more opportunity. People are aware of it, you know, and there's a lot more out there asking for support. But at the same time, you know, if you have a heart for missions and if you have a heart for the nations, there's lots of opportunities that you can give into this ministry. You can give into the Christian schools. There's other areas that we can give into too in Cambodia, you know. Yeah. Pastor Joel Reimer is doing an awesome work in Cambodia there. Burma is also an exciting place to give into right now, because of Cyclone Nargis that happened a year and a half ago, or almost 2 years ago now, I guess. And also right here in Thailand, right? There's the El Shaddai Children's Homes, the next generation of leaders. I grew up in El Shaddai Children's Home #1, and I can tell you from experience, it's one of the best things that you can sow into, you know. I know just growing up in the family that I did, I mean, just seeing firsthand what God does in the life of a child that is taught and trained up in the way of the Lord, and taught that God